So hi, so we are going to restart the 5 editorials of the week initiative. 130 editions varaikkum we finished in December. So again, from February, we are going to restart it, and now from now onwards, it will be every week. Okay. So in the next 2.5 months, 5 editorials of the week will be handled by ma'am. Sindhu ma'am will be handling it. So Sindhu ma'am is another important faculty in KingMakers. She is handling geography. And she's handling geography subject, environment, and a few other topics. And she's also geography optional, and she has also given many interviews. So in that to ma'am kuduthirukanga. So she's a very experienced faculty here. So from now onwards, the baton is given to Sindhu ma'am. So she will take the baton and go. It's kind of a relay race now. So when I was unavailable at that point of time, Madhavi ma'am used to come. Madhavi ma'am availability illa. So we are having another experienced person, Sindhu ma'am. But over sync நீங்க கவனிச்சீங்களா 5 editorials of the week நடத்தின 3 பேருமே geography optional தான். ஸோ உங்களுக்கு புரியுதா? மீ சிந்து மேம் அண்ட் நவ் மாதவி மேம் எல்லாருமே. ஸோ ஜியாகிரபிக்கு எடிட்டோரியல்ஸ்க்கு ஒரு ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் இருக்கு. ஸோ ஓகே, ஜோக்ஸ் அபார்ட். ஸோ 5 editorials of the week இந்த வீக்ல இருந்து எவ்ரி வீக் இட் இஸ் கோயிங் டு கோ. எவ்ரி சாட்டர்டே ஈவினிங் இட் வில் பி ஹேப்பனிங் அண்ட் இட் வில் பி இன் தி யூடியூப் லைவ். ஸோ யூடியூப்ல பார்க்குறவங்களுக்கும் ஹாய், குட் ஈவினிங். So 5 editorials of the week now it will be handled by Sindhu ma'am. So எப்பவும் போல you just see. So different faculties will give different perspectives. There are different insights which they are going to share. So on the monotony will be broken. இப்போ என்னோட ஒரு வியூ பார்த்துருக்கீங்க, மாதவி மேமோட ஒரு வியூ பார்த்துருக்கீங்க, அண்ட் ஹர் ஸ்டைல் பார்த்துருக்கீங்க. ஸோ சிந்து மேம் அண்ட் அதர் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ்டு பர்சன், அவங்களோட வியூ வந்து யூ வில் பி சீயிங் இட். ஸோ டிஃப்ரெண்ட் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ் உங்களுக்கு கிடைக்கிறப்போ உங்களுக்கே வந்து இட் வில் பி ஃப்ரெஷ். So that is the thing behind it also. So with this note, I will ask Sindhu ma'am to discuss the 5 editorials of the week. எப்பவும் போல சாட்டர்டே வரா மாதிரி எல்லா வீக்கும் வரா மாதிரி வாங்க. ஓகே, ஸோ எவ்ரி வீக் வாங்க, அட்டன் பண்ணுங்க. மேபி ஒன்ஸ் ஐ எம் அவைலபிள் ஐ வில் ஆல்சோ ஜாயின் இட் லேட்டர். ஸோ ஆஃப்டர் 2 months.
Busy with interview preparation and everything. I'm his substitute for now. Your sir will be back for editorial. Very soon.
அது வரைக்கும் 2 months மேம் தான் வருவாங்க. So
then after that his results will come out with flying colors and he'll be free for it.
not only singular சொல்லாதீங்க, தூரங்க உங்களுக்கும் வரும்.
So yeah, he'll come back. You see the 5 things, no? This is not an editorial.
Yeah, I used to take some FAQ also. FAQ, express explained எல்லாமே third mapping of female migration. Yes.
இதுதான் ரெண்டு. அப்புறம் மயன்மார் பத்தி 3 வந்துச்சு டுடே மார்னிங் also.
Myanmar.
Yeah. Something about it is simple தான், easy, இதுதான் easiest.
Minor is an economics.
No.
Ladakh is Discontent. Okay. So what do you நீங்க ரிசர்ச் பண்ணி எழுதும்போது பாத்துக்கோங்க. மைக் வர்க் ஆகுதான்னு பாருங்க.
மைக் ஆமா ஆகும். Mute. Is it a mute?
It's mute for them. உங்களுக்கு இந்த வியூ வந்து என்ன வியூல இருக்குங்கிறது நீங்க பாத்துக்கலாம்.
Okay.
Yes, it's not in mute.
Fine. இந்த இயர்ஃபோன் தானே கனெக்ட் ஆச்சு.
சோ நம்ம இந்த இத ஆஃப் பண்ணிடலாம். வால்யூம் ஓகே ஆன் பண்ணுங்க.
Yeah, it's fine.
Audio okay.
I'm not, yeah, okay, I think it's fine. Then not little bit, if I want to reduce, how to reduce?
This one or this one, in the end. This is the actual phone, yeah. Or this one, master இருக்கும்.
Fine. So let him go. Okay. It's not. Okay, so hi and welcome back. Sir will be back soon. So until then, we thought we'll continue the initiative. That's why we've started this. So today we are going to be seeing 5 editorials. I'll tell you what the editorials are before we go into the discussion. So first, so one of the things that we will be discussing is about public health. So 2 editorials we had this week in the Hindu about public health. Populism does not help public health. We'll discuss later on what it is. That is one. And early nutrition's impact on cognitive development. So these two, this we'll discuss as one. And after that, yeah, one other thing is female migrants in the labor force. Okay, so about this we'll be discussing. This has relevance for your society paper. Okay, and you know, whatever we discuss in editorials, it's not just society. You can even use it in economy, workforce, labor force, migration. All these are aspects which can also be used in your GS3 economy, GS1 society, or you can also take the inputs and use it in your essay. So while we discuss editorials, you'll be gaining a lot of knowledge. You'll be hearing and you'll be gathering information. So week after week, when we discuss things, you will get to be knowing a lot of points, which will help you a lot in writing your mains answers, mains essays. Okay, prelims may not help so much, but you know you can't say that it won't help at all. கொஞ்சம் ப்ரிலிம்ஸ்க்கும் ஹெல்ப்ஃபுல்லா இருக்கும், பட் அவ்வளோ ஃபேக்சுவலா நம்ம உள்ள போக மாட்டோம். பட் திஸ் இனிஷியேட்டிவ் வில் ஹெல்ப் யூ மோர் இன் மெயின்ஸ் அண்ட் essay. Okay, so இது வந்து GS1, GS3 ல relevance இருக்கு, this particular editorial, and this is GS2 where we have health in the governance topic. And this is trouble in Myanmar. This editorial, this week itself we had 3 about, even in today's paper it was there, and apart from that 2 other editorials were there about Myanmar. So this is related to your IR GS2 paper. Okay, so and we have neighborhood relations also, which is part of the GS2 syllabus. Okay, so in that regard Myanmar will be important. And yes, SDGs, it's a general thing which you can use in all your papers. Okay, so about SDGs also we have one editorial and we'll be talking about it. Okay, let's now go into the last is about Ladakh. What Ladakh acquired the status of Union Territory by the Jammu and Kashmir Reorganization Act, and there are some demands which are being put forward by the political bodies in the region. So we will look into what it is. Okay, so these are the things that we will be discussing today, and so let's. Okay, so in this editorial, this author is talking about, you know, what he or she, okay, the person, I don't know who, I think a man. Okay, so author is not so important. So, okay, so he is actually trying to say, highlight the issue that women, after they migrate, they are, the probability of them being employed is less. So migrate now, ஒரு இடத்துல இருந்து இன்னொரு இடத்துக்கு போய் தங்கி செட்டில் ஆகிறோம். ஓகே, செட்டில் ஆகிறது தான் மைக்ரேஷன். ஸோ ஐ நோ இட் இஸ் பேசிக்லி சேஞ்ச் இன் ரெசிடென்ஸ். ஓகே, ஸோ this person is saying generally when a family migrates or something like that, women also go along, but அப்படி மைக்ரேட் ஆகி போய் இன்னொரு இடத்துல இருக்கும் போது விமனோட எம்ப்ளாய்மெண்ட் ப்ராபபிலிட்டி வந்து ரொம்ப குறைஞ்சிருந்தது. ஸோ அதை பத்தி தான் இந்த எடிட்டோரியல். ஸோ அதுக்கு வாட் வி கேன் டூ டு அட்ரஸ் இட். And we might not have thought about this perspective. This author has thrown light on this perspective. So obviously this perspective can be used as a point in your mains answer writing. So we'll see what this author has to say. And he's actually using a lot of data from PLFS. You know what PLFS is? Periodic Labor Force Survey. So what PLFS இருந்து இந்த ஆத்தர் என்ன எடுத்துட்டாருன்னா, it is PLFS is saying that around 3/4 of migrant women are Okay. So out of all the women who migrate, 3/4 are unemployed. Okay. And this author is trying to figure out why. Why is that the 3/4 women who migrate are unemployed? Okay. And one more. Then he is also saying what needs to be done. Okay. So can I change slide? I think. So according to PLFS, so PLFS ல இருந்து தான் எடுத்து இந்த author வந்து actually பேசுறாங்க. And the author, this particular author has made a point saying that female, what is FLFPR? Female, yeah, FLFPR is female labor force participation rate. So in this data you can actually pick from NSSO. NSSO is National Statistical Standards Organization. So these people, they give a lot of data about your employment and all that. So this is standard data. But in the author solranga that last 5 years, our female labor force participation has been declining. This is what the author is actually saying. But this is not the case as per NSSO data. If you see NSSO data of last 5 years, there is actually an increase. And the last 5 years data on the increase. So whatever these authors in editorials speak, no, it is not the government viewpoint. Okay. So you should not take the information as such. NSSO data as an UPSC aspirant, you should only take the government data. And as per NSSO data, female labor force participation has been increasing only in the last 5 years. Author in the opening statement itself, he is saying that female labor force participation has been decreasing, but that's not the case. But it is low. லோங்கிறது ஒரு பிரச்சனை தான், பட் அவங்க வந்து டிக்ரீசிங் சொல்றாங்க, டிக்ரீசிங் கிடையாது. ஓகே. அண்ட் so as of 2022-23, the labor force participation rate of women is 37% as per NSSO. Yes. So do you think this can be increased? Yes, no. 100% வரைக்கும் நம்ம increase பண்ணலாம். Increase பண்ணா that will boost the country obviously. So yeah. So this I wanted to highlight because the author வந்து அப்படி சொல்லிருக்காங்க, that's not the case. So you always take government data. Okay. And looking at why people migrate. So PLFS actually says that women migrate due to marriage, one primary reason for migration is marriage. That is the top reason. And other reason is that, say, when the male breadwinner of the family goes to a place to earn and make a living, women also move along. Then they also migrate for education and they migrate for employment. Okay. So these are the main reasons why they migrate. But author is also saying that secondary reasons why they migrate is not being highlighted by PLFS data. So adu enna, he is saying migration can also happen due to food insecurity. Migration can also happen due to climate change. Yes. So about all this and all, PLFS வந்து பேசல அப்படின்ட்டு அந்த author வந்து ஒரு point வைக்கிறாரு. You can also maybe, well, if at all you're writing some answer on migration or something, you can also mention these. Okay. Can I change? So what next? And coming to okay, so coming to the question of why they are unemployed. See, this author has actually spoken about he has thrown more light on why they are unemployed in the formal labor force. Okay, formal labor force la unemployed அப்படினு சொல்லி தான் இந்த author reason கொடுத்தாரு. And one more key statistics which you can note in this regard is ILO is there, right? ILO says that the International Labour Organization says that 95% working women in India they are in okay, so out of India la வேலை பார்க்குற womenல 95% வந்து informal sectorல தான் இருக்காங்க அப்படின்ட்டு ILO வந்து ஒரு they have given the statistics, fine. And coming to the author's viewpoint, அவங்க வந்து discuss பண்றாங்க ஏன் formal labor forceல வந்து female participation கம்மியா இருக்கு. So what are the points given by author is that in the female labor force around 85% இருக்கிற labor forceல ஒரு 85% மக்கள் வந்து they have less than 10 years of education. So education is kammiya irukku. So automatically they are getting pushed into informal sectors like so அவங்க participate பண்ற work nature எப்படி இருக்குன்னா casual labor, self employment னா agricultural own fields la work பண்றாங்களா அது or daily wage, these kind of thing. And they are working in sectors like agriculture, construction, they're working as domestic maids. Yes, so அவங்களுக்குலாம் ஒரு எஜுகேஷனே less than 10 years தான் இருக்கு. அப்புறம் அதனால அவங்க எல்லாரும் informal sectorsல இருக்கிறாங்க. Plus most dominant highest presence is there in these sectors. Okay, this is what author is saying. So one is about education. What other reason he is giving is that can we go to next page? Can we change or we'll drop back? Yeah. So the next reason that author is giving is that they lack social networks after migrating. Now, suppose if a woman is there in her village, in her native village means she will be talking to other women. அவங்க வந்து மத்தவங்ககிட்ட பேசுவாங்க. And in villages in rural India we have this model called SDG, right? So villageல வந்து இப்படி ஒரு community அவங்க participate பண்றாங்க. SDGs இருக்கு. And we also have cooperatives, these kind of models in rural India. So அவங்க இருக்கிற இடத்துலனா அது அவங்களுக்கு possible. But when they go and settle in a new place, what is happening is that அவங்க அந்த இடத்துல வந்து isolated-ஆ இருக்காங்க, lonely-ஆ இருக்காங்க. அவங்களுக்கு வேற companions இல்ல. So that is what we mean by lack of social network. So this is also one reason which is keeping them out of jobs. And another reason is that post-COVID. Okay, post-COVID, the scenario is that lack of return. COVID அப்போ some people went back to their villages, right? அவங்க திரும்ப வரவே இல்லை. So அங்க போயிட்டு அங்கேயே இருந்துட்டாங்க. So they're not coming back to cities and participating in work. That is one. And post-COVID, lack of return is one factor. And also this is a data by Yale University. Okay, they have said that female salary post-COVID is only 56% of pre-COVID levels. So அந்த பேயும் வந்து அவங்களுக்கு இன்சென்டிவைசிங்கா இல்ல. கோவிடுக்கு முன்னாடி வந்து 100 rupees கிடைச்சதுன்னா இப்போ 56 தான் கிடைக்குது. So they are thinking like, why should we even come back? திரும்ப வர இஷ்டம் இல்லை. Okay, so salary is 56% of 56% of pre-COVID levels, because of which they're not coming back. So these are some of the reasons that the author has actually highlighted. Okay, and apart from that, he has also spoken about some concerns. So these are reasons for their low participation in formal labor force. And one more, apart from what the author has mentioned, like we all know, some common reasons also we can talk about. Safety concerns everywhere, sexual harassment and all that is there. So safety illa adu or prachana. And the social security cover is not there. So here also a PLFS data saying that only 7% of female labor force, they have social security cover. Okay, 100 பேர் work பண்றாங்கன்னா only 7%, வெறும் 7% தான் social security cover இருக்கு. So what is social security cover? That you know, right? It can be anything. I mean, like something which facilitates safe living, maternity leave, okay, that they are not getting, no proper housing, work conditions. So all these aspects are since they are there in informal sector, all these aspects are not taken care of properly. Okay, working condition, paid leave, all these kind of things are not there for them. Okay, which is because of which they are not motivated to join the work. All right, and one more thing is that there is a phenomenon called as pinkification of jobs. So what is that? Certain jobs. So formal labor force la avanga participate pannonalum, women have been restricted to certain jobs like teaching, nursing, nurse, gynecologist. Okay, so these kind of jobs, hospitality sector, this receptionist, these kind of things. So they have been restricted to such roles and such jobs. So in the problem irukku. Any change? So these are the authors on the, but these are some extra points which we generally know. And so what are the concerns? So this female labor force participation rate, how to increase it, about this female migrant labor and all that. Why we are talking is because one is that, see, this much of, I'm giving you a lot of data. It's not that you have to remember all the data. Okay, whatever you feel like remembering, you remember. நம்மளுக்கு சில data வந்து you might feel that it's a nice thing which you can use in your answers. Others you feel like let's say அவ்வளவு நல்லா இல்ல அப்படின்னா வச்சுக்கலாம். Okay, it's not that you have to take all the data which I'm giving. So female migration for employment has increased by 101%. 101% increase. Okay, between 2001 to 11, 101% increase in female labor force, female migration for working. Okay, that is one. And these migrant labor not seen as vote bank. Migrants in India, they don't have that vote, right? They have to go back to their native place, and many times they won't vote. They won't even have money to go. If they go, they'll have to sacrifice their work and everything and go, so they won't go. So on the vote illadadala, there is no proper policy which is directed towards this section of the population. So we have so much of migrants and all that. Vote bank வந்து politicians வந்து அதை consider பண்ணுவாங்க. So this is one other aspect. And what else? So yeah, it's only this. These are the main things. And yeah, one more thing is there are certain schemes for migrants, but these are actually lacking a female-centric twist. Okay. One more is this. Affordable rental housing is when people move, they should be able to get rented houses at low cost. OR is one nation, one ration card. And one more is this e-Shram portal. It is a national level database of unorganized sector workers, e-Shram portal. You know this, right? Unorganized sector workers, construction workers, gig workers, avangala வந்து இந்த e-Shram portal register பண்ணி to have proper database. This was actually initiated post-COVID. So in the மாதிரி சில migrant labor centric schemes we have, but here also we do not have specific female centric approach. This is generally for migrant labor and largely நம்ம இதை வந்து ஒரு female point of view ல இருந்து யோசிக்கல. So all these schemes are generalistic and they need a female centric orientation. That the author is saying. Okay. And so these are the things actually. This is what is the concern, and the author says that all these things have to be addressed. And apart from what this author is saying, we can also discuss why it is important to have women in workforce. So why should women participate so much in work? That means yeah. So coming to why means you can say that it will boost the economic potential. Full economic potential of the country can be realized only when for half of the population la வந்து மீதி ஒரு man half men half women half na. So women la வந்து எல்லாரும் work பண்ணல வெறும் 37% தான் work பண்றாங்கன்னா our nation's goal of $5 trillion $10 trillion இதெல்லாம் achieve பண்ண லேட் ஆகும். And IMF has stated that rising women's participation in the labor force as much as men can boost GDP by when it happens when female participation in the labor force is increased to the level of men. Okay. Or let's say 80 men வந்து labor force la participate பண்றாங்கன்னா 80 women participate பண்ணாங்கன்னா then GDP will get boosted by 27%. Okay, this has been given by IMF. It's a standard data which you can actually use. Okay, and to prevent or you can just say that to realize the demographic dividend. We are talking about demographic dividend and all that, right? So adu realize aganuna women have to participate in the workforce. And you can also say in order to facilitate but you want more lights, sir? If you want to switch on, okay. Yes. Fertility transition now. So என்ன சொல்றது already but it is happening in our country. அதாவது fertility rates dipping, population control. So அது எப்போ நடக்கும்னா only when women participate in the workforce. So fertility transition as of now is happening, but women's participation in workforce can also boost what we call as access to healthcare, because better income will be there. So everybody can access more quality healthcare. IMR, MMR, these indicators will improve. Okay, with better income in every society, we see that these changes come about. Idukku fertility transition sollana, there is one word also, one key word. You might have heard of this, demographic. Demographic transition. So அதாவது ஒரு country வந்து first start ஆகும்போது அங்க birth rate, death rate எல்லாமே ஹையா இருக்கும். Later on, first death rate will fall, then the birth rate will fall. So initially population growth வந்து நிறைய இருந்திருக்கும், அப்புறம் gradually stabilize ஆகி அந்த rate of growth slow ஆகி then it will stabilize. I think you know this concept in society, they would have taught you, know. So a demographic transition will happen, and you can also say it facilitates inclusive growth. Inclusive growth na we are also including women. So avanga vandu growth la irundhu vittu vekkama avangalum சேர்த்து எடுத்துட்டு போறோம். So you can talk about inclusive growth, and you can say developed. Okay. So these are some reasons. You can think of more also. Women want to participate பண்றதுனால what other benefits are there? You can also think of more. So I think we've discussed the main ones. So apart from these reasons, yes. So yeah, that's all about this. Okay. So can we just move to next editorial? So I've just discussed some for why. நம்ம அதுக்கு மேலேயும் வந்து you know, we can actually give points. Okay. Yes, coming to public health. Yeah. So about public health, so there are two editorials. In one editorial, the author is mentioning. So he is saying populism is affecting public health, you know, policy in a negative way. So this is author's perspective, but populism na avaru enna solrarna, they are building actually. You don't write like this, okay? It is always good to build new hospitals and all that. So according to him, populism is new hospitals, emergency care and all that. So in the mari idhan pandranga. So actually this will come under, in public health, this will come under curative approach. Okay, so author solranga, we are focusing on curative approach towards health. Adu pattadu. What we should focus on is preventive approach. Okay. So we are focusing on curative approach. So populism அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து it has become about building new hospitals and boosting the, so வெளிய தெரியிற விஷயங்கள் பண்றோம். But in preventive approach, it is about disease surveillance. So districtல வந்து அவங்க வந்து collect பண்ணுவாங்க. You know, what is the data about communicable disease? What is the data about non-communicable diseases? எது எப்படி இருக்கு? What is the status அப்படின்னு சொல்லி monitor பண்ணுவாங்க. So there is also a program which is running in India for district level health monitoring. Okay, so the author is saying like this: we need disease surveillance at district level. Then we need, according to him, yeah, we also need public health education. In public health education, it is about, you know, if people do not have adequate awareness about public health. Health na every nama disease prevent பண்றது, how to take care of ourselves and all that, people do not know adequately. So அவங்களுக்கு அந்த awareness கொடுக்கணும். அப்படி awareness கொடுத்தாலே பாதி problem solve ஆயிடும். Why people are suffering from diabetes, why they are having hypertension, why they are having, you know, cancer and all that. because their diet is not proper, lifestyle is not proper, they're not exercising adequately. So other first சொல்லி கொடுத்தாலே அவங்க சரியாயிடுவாங்க, பாதி diseases வராது. So that public health education has to happen. So that is not happening adequately. Vaccination is inadequate. Nutrition is inadequate. And PHCs, primary health centers, they are not well equipped. We are, focused more on building multi-specialty hospitals catering to secondary, tertiary care. In the preventive approach, new hospital emergency care, and also one more approach is subsidized treatment in private hospitals. Actually, this author is being very critical. These things are also needed. Actually, rendume dhaan needed. Our the government is focusing more on this, less on this. He has written a critical thing. So we are just going to take the message, and you should never be very critical of the government in your answers or in your interview or anywhere for that. Okay, so be careful about that. And yeah, subsidized treatment in private hospitals now, under what scheme you are having? Ayushman Bharat. So I missed that, so I wanted to tell you. So he's saying primary health centers are not adequately equipped, the wellness centers. So all these things are inadequate. அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி the author is mentioned. Okay. So preventive healthcare adequate இல்ல அப்படின்னு. Can we change? So the author is also trying to say, no, he has also given examples to illustrate his point of view. So he is saying, for example, let's take dengue. So dengue எடுத்துட்டா, he is saying, why dengue happens is because we are not focusing on vector control. That means there is no sanitation, proper sanitation illa. Water supply proper illa. So poor vector control and low vaccination. So these things are inadequate actually. Waste management is not proper. Okay. So waste, dump yards, they become breeding ground for mosquitoes and all that. So idella proper illa. And but we are focusing on curing dengue. அதுக்கு பதிலா நம்ம இதெல்லாம் பண்ணா டெங்குவே வராதே in the first place. Like that he is saying with dengue. That he has spoken about dengue. And then he has given one more example to prove his viewpoint. He has spoken about TB. So why TB prevails in our country? India is the TB capital of the world. So why is it happening? Means it is happening because of the poor So most of the people who are affected by TB, they are people who are below poverty line or marginally above poverty line and the money. Okay. So and the poverty நம்ம address பண்ணாலே TB address பண்ணிடலாம் அப்படின்ட்டு authors. Those people அவங்க வந்து ஹெல்தியான ஃபுட் கன்சியூம் பண்ண மாட்டாங்க, ப்ராப்பரா நியூட்ரிஷன் எடுக்க மாட்டாங்க. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி ரீசன்ஸ்னால டிபினால எஃபெக்ட் ஆகிறாங்க. அண்ட் he also mentioned one more thing called as crowded living spaces. So in the slums and congested settlements, diseases like TB, all the contagious diseases can spread fast. So இதெல்லாம் சொல்லிருக்காங்க. இப்போ இதெல்லாம் நம்ம அட்ரஸ் பண்ணாலே TB குறைஞ்சிருமே. Like that also he is mentioning. So he is mentioned about dengue, he is mentioned about TB. So he is saying why we should focus on preventing. நம்ம curatively மட்டும் focus பண்றோம். Hospital கட்டிட்டோம்னு சொல்லி we are going for vote and all that. He then mentioned what. So he is saying we should focus on preventive. அப்படின்ட்டு வந்து he has just given a perspective. And yeah, one more thing what he has spoken about is, he said he has spoken about Poshan Yeah. Okay, so under that, this initiative was actually started in 2018. 2018 March they actually started. And under that, they set targets to reduce undernutrition, low birth weight. One more, I'm not remembering. Anemia. Okay, so anemia they wanted to reduce by 3% per annum. இது வந்து 2% per annum, 2% per annum. At that rate, they wanted to reduce. One more was about stunting. Yeah, stunting. So other one was stunting. That also at 2% per annum, they wanted to reduce. This was the target under Poshan Abhiyan, which was started in 2018. But actually, what has happened is, if you take NFHS 5 data, NFHS 5 data, so this is for the year 2022. So according to this, anemia in the age group of 6 months to 6 years, it is 67%. Okay. And between 15 to 49 years, it is 57%. Okay, so this is an increase from earlier 58%. This is an increase from earlier 53%. இந்த பழைய டேட்டா ஞாபகம் வைக்கலாம்னா ஸோ அவர் என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, though we had a target to reduce like this 2% per annum, நம்ம reduce தான் பண்ணிருக்கணும், but actually என்ன நடந்திருக்குன்னா increase has happened. So he is saying that there is policy target versus achievement. There is a huge gap, mismatch அப்படின்னு சொல்றாரு. நாம டார்கெட் பண்றது ஒண்ணு, forget achieving அது வந்து ஏறிட்டு போயிருக்கு அப்படின்னு சொல்லி this person has actually highlighted, which is actually the case. Anemia has increased. Okay, so he has shown with anemia, so that he has spoken about. And so coming to what should be done, he is saying that there is a need to focus on he's saying there's a need to focus on environmental health. So another clean environment, clean surroundings, these are also crucial to what to say, to achieving a healthy population, healthy society. This author is saying, when we talk about environmental health, we also can mention about this zoonotic diseases, all the contagious diseases that we are seeing now. Lot of zoonotic, that is on the environment and the humans transition. COVID itself is a zoonotic disease. Okay, transition between environment, animal, human. Also, there is this thing called One Health approach and all that. Okay, we're not going into it. So, environmental health, but the author has spoken. Then he speaks about community health. So, there is a need to boost primary level healthcare, sanitation, water supply. In the many aspects are very important. Proper nutrition and all that. He has spoken about this. And he also talks about need to monitor NCDs. NCD means non-communicable disease. Okay, then he talks about contagious disease. And one more that he has spoken is this one, mental health issues. So he has spoken about the need to monitor all these things. And he has also spoken about the need to boost access to healthcare. Okay, so that we can do by so many ways. Our just access to healthcare and solirikkaru. So this can be through you can say primary center, secondary health center, community center, more of ASHA workers, Anganwadi workers. So இது எல்லாத்து வழியுமே we can வழியாவுமே நம்ம வந்து healthcare க்கு வந்து access boost பண்ணலாம். அந்த பெரிய பெரிய ஹாஸ்பிட்டல்ஸ் கட்டுறது மட்டும் இல்ல, இந்த மாதிரி கிரவுண்ட் லெவல் ஒர்க்கும் பண்ணணும் அப்படிங்கிறது தான் is this person's point of view. Okay, he doesn't want populism. He wants both actually. He wants preventive care and curative care. So this is about this editorial. And there was also one more editorial this week about, again, health, early nutrition's impact on cognitive development. So that is actually early nutrition and cognitive development. See, this cognitive development is what means it is the ability to basically it is the child's intellectual ability, ability to think, reason, read, perform arithmetic and all that. So the all put together is what we call as cognitive development. So author is saying that in the cognitive development வந்து boost ஆகணும்னா we have to focus on early nutrition. Okay, so I think we know from our own data. I don't have data to prove that, but it's a very common report. The author mentioned பண்ணல, but we as aspirants we know, no, there is one report called as, oh no, there's one organization called as Pratham, and they produce this report called, yes, sir, annual status of education report. So Pratham organization வந்து they do one rural in rural India, they do a door-to-door survey. So வீடு வீடா போய் அந்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸை வந்து அசஸ் பண்ணி அவங்களோட நாலேஜ் லெவல் என்ன, அவங்களோட இன்டெலெக்சுவல் கெப்பாசிட்டி என்ன, how they're able to read, how they're able to solve maths problems, அதெல்லாம் செக் பண்ணி வந்து they produce one report, ACER report அப்படின்ட்டு. And in that every time if you see the cognitive development level will be very less. Like ஒரு second standard student ஆல வந்து, I'm sorry, fifth standard student ஆல வந்து second standard class textbook read பண்ண முடியாது. That level of maths problem they will not be able to solve. So all this is because of the fact that cognitive development has been impacted. Okay, so அது ஏன் அப்படி நடக்குது அப்படின்னா இந்த author சொல்றாரு that can be prevented by focusing on early nutrition, like that this author is saying. And yeah, so this author also how one perspective that this author has given is that அவர் என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா child stunting. So child stunting means low height for age. ஒரு particular ஒரு 5 yearsல ஒரு height இருக்கணும்னா ஒரு child அதை விட கம்மியா இருக்கும். So that we call as child stunting. So he's saying that when child stunting happens, it leads to delayed enrollment. And delayed enrollment, this author is saying that can affect their ability to develop vocabulary, to ability to do maths, or anything for that, science. Okay, this person is saying early nutrition இல்லாததால அந்த 3 to 6 years or 6 months to 6 yearsல வந்து proper nutrition கொடுக்காததால child stunting happens. And child stunting நடக்கும்போது it affects their enrollment, it delays their enrollment in school. அப்படி enrollment late ஆகும்போது வந்து இந்த learning outcomes எல்லாம் குறைஞ்சிடுது அப்படின்ட்டு வந்து this author is saying. Okay, and this author has also mentioned that he is speaking on the basis of some empirical studies. Okay, சில empirical studies வச்சு என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா that a woman's education level, not a woman, actually a mother's education level and mother's height has also to do with the child's cognitive ability. அதாவது மதரோட ஹைட் அப்புறம் அவங்க எஜுகேஷன் லெவலும் சைல்டோட காக்னிட்டிவ் அபிலிட்டியை எஃபெக்ட் பண்ணும் அப்படின்ட்டு this author is actually giving a perspective which is actually true. Only healthy mothers can give birth to healthy children, and healthy children means good quality human capital for India. So mother healthy இல்லாத போது சைல்டால ஹெல்தியா இருக்க முடியாது. Their IQ will be less, their IQ, EQ, everything will be less, physical growth எல்லாமே கம்மியா இருக்கும். Okay, So author has given this perspective, and you can also, it right yourself. As the author was சொல்லிருக்காங்க. And can we change? So இப்படிலாம் சொல்லிட்டு the author அப்புறம் என்ன சொல்றாருன்னா, what India is doing in this regard அப்படின்ட்டு author has mentioned what we are doing. He has mentioned that we are already having Poshan, we are having ICDS, we are having Anganwadi. இதெல்லாம் இருக்கு, okay, well and good அப்படின்ட்டு that author is saying. But apart from this, what more is needed? That also he is suggesting. So what are his suggestions means? So that author is mentioning about, he mentioned okay, so this awareness many women in India do not have. First 6 months, the baby should have exclusive breastfeeding. So அது நடக்கிறது இல்ல, which is crucial to developing a child's IQ and all that in future. So முதல் 6 months breastfeeding பண்ணும். And this also you can link to healthy mothers. To do that itself, the mother has to be healthy and she should have adequate nutrition. So அதுதான் இந்த author சொல்லிருக்காங்க. Breastfeeding for 6 months plus complementary breastfeeding for 2 years. So 6 months வந்து exclusive breastfeeding. After 6 months, along with some other nutrition, they can do breastfeeding. That this author has mentioned. And one other suggestion given by the author is community based what he or she is trying to say in this is that he is saying mothers in a group, they should sit and discuss what you're giving your child. They should discuss about healthy diet and all that. So அவங்க வந்து ஒரு 20 mothers உட்கார்ந்து பேசினாங்கன்னா, some exchange of knowledge will happen. So இதெல்லாம் கொடுக்கலாம், ஒரு 3-year பேபிக்கு இது கொடுக்கலாம், 4-yearக்கு இது கொடுக்கலாம், இது கொடுத்தா எப்படி வளரும், digestion நல்லா இருக்கும். All these kind of things, only when women discuss, they will get know. Especially the women who are uneducated, illiterate and all that. So அவங்களுக்குள்ள ஒரு discussion facilitate பண்ணணும் அப்படிங்கிறது வந்து this person is suggesting. Okay, and then he has also mentioned about so in Anganwadi centers, we have workers. Okay, so in the health workers வந்து Anganwadi centerல இருக்கிறாங்க. But this author is actually saying that more than the workers that we have, at least or Anganwadiல 1 or 2 extra workers இருந்துச்சுன்னா, okay, what he says that what will happen because of that is the child's, he's saying not just nutrition, but Anganwadila first they will teach the child, right? So the cognitive development will happen. He's saying malnutrition will reduce. Okay, so இது எல்லாமே நடக்கும் அப்படினு சொல்லி that person is saying. And it's not just for child, even the pregnant and lactating mothers will benefit when Anganwadi has more workers. So நிறைய workers in that they can serve more population, and they can teach more children, they can feed more children and all that. So Anganwadis la extra workers இருக்கணும் அப்படினு வந்து this author is saying. And what else he's saying is there is also data actually which says that diseases like diarrhea and all that, they cause stunting. So stunting நடக்கிறதுக்கு வந்து diarrhea is one reason. So he is saying that to prevent diseases like diarrhea, we have to focus on sanitation and water supply. Okay, so this you can also link this to SDG 6. Okay. So இதுக்கு இவர் சொல்றாரு, he is saying that investments should increase in schemes like SBM. SBM is what? Swachh Bharat, toilets. Okay. And also, okay, Swachh Bharat. And he is also saying the thing should, investment should increase in Swachh Bharat mission and also in Jal Jeevan mission. What is Jal Jeevan mission about? Piped water supply. So அவர் சொல்ற ரெண்டுமே அதுல மீட் ஆயிடும்ல. சானிடேஷனுக்கு வந்து ஸ்வச் பாரத், வாட்டர் சப்ளை வந்து ஜல் ஜீவன். எஸ். ஸோ திஸ் ஆல்சோ திஸ் ஆத்தர் இஸ் சேயிங். அண்ட் ஒன் மோர், இது வந்து திஸ் இஸ் அ ஜெனரல் பாயிண்ட் விச் யூ கேன் ஆட். there is something called as Palna scheme, or earlier it was called as okay, this Palna scheme was earlier called as a national crèche scheme. Okay. So இது வந்து he is saying that more of crèches should be there. So he is saying we can have the model of Anganwadi cum crèche. இது வந்து not just about health, நம்ம அந்த female labor force participation சொன்னோம்ல. So to boost that also you can write this as a point. So on the female labor force participation இருக்கணும்னா, first of all, women will have children. So they have to take care of children, means they'll not go to work. And the children எங்கேயாவது விட்டுட்டு போலாம்னா obviously அவங்க work போறாங்க. So this you can link it to that also. So எங்கெல்லாம் these, where and all these crèches can be there, means it can be there in workplace. You can say for example near industrial sites கிட்ட, அங்க அவங்க நிறைய ஒர்க் பண்ணுவாங்க, அந்த இடத்துல வைக்கலாம். Or near their homes, near, you can say, low class so இந்த slums or lower section economic dwellings இருக்கிற இடத்துல அங்க இருந்துட்டு வந்து people will be going for construction work, they'll be going out as domestic maids and all that. So near that area, if you're going to have crèche come Anganwadi, அவங்க வந்து babies வந்து அங்க விட்டுட்டு போயிடலாம். And as such, இது தாண்டி generally overall itself you can increase the Anganwadis and crèches. And there is a target, I think, to build 22,000. That number you don't need. Yeah, the target is to build 17,000 Anganwadis cum crèches by 2025-26 under this Palna scheme. Okay, under Palna scheme. And this Palna scheme is a sub-scheme under Mission Shakti. Mission Shakti is a holistic approach for women empowerment, women development. So the Palna scheme is about this crèche and Anganwadi and all that. Adipati, about that, the author has spoken. Yes. So these are the solutions that the author is suggesting. So all these approaches can actually facilitate better cognitive development, like that he is saying. Okay. So that is about that editorial. So two things we have done. No. Next editorial is about what? அது ரெண்டும் same, public health. Tired, boring. Female labor, public health. Okay, we'll do about that Myanmar. Okay, so author is actually talking about problems in Myanmar 3 times this time. This week we saw news about Myanmar in editorials. So actually Myanmar la ipo enna problem na, is Okay, junta or military regime is happening. இது எப்போதுல இருந்துன்னா Feb 2021. This military, what they did was they overthrew okay, Feb 2023 la வந்து they overthrew the democratically elected government. So there was a leader called as Aung San Suu Kyi. So அவங்க இருந்தாங்க. These people they pushed her out of power, they imprisoned her, and the military people they took the power. இது வந்து Feb 2021. இப்போ 2024 ஆயிடுச்சு. It's been 3 years. And when this happens in a nation, இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு நேஷனுக்குள்ள ரெண்டு குரூப்ஸ்க்கு நடுவுல ரெண்டு மூணு குரூப்ஸ்க்கு நடுவுல வார் வந்தா that we call as civil war. அவங்களுக்குள்ளே அடிச்சுட்டு யாருக்கு பவர் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு சண்டை வந்துட்டு இருக்கும். So that we call as civil war. And that is exactly what is happening in Myanmar now. So that's why we have written as Myanmar's discontent. So any nation that is in civil war cannot progress. இப்போ வந்து இப்போ நம்ம கண்ட்ரில we have a stability to a great extent. Stability is there. இவங்களுக்கு அவங்களுக்குன்ட்டு சண்டைலாம் கிடையாது. Military is there, government is there, central government is there, state governments are there. Everybody is functioning in unison. Okay. But இங்க மயன்மார்ல என்னன்னா ஒவ்வொரு குரூப் இருக்கு, அவங்களுக்குள்ளே வந்து கான்ஃபிளிக்ட் இருக்கு, tussle for power is there. So அப்படி இருக்கும்போது one nation cannot make any progress. The people in that nation will be affected. அவங்களால வந்து ஒண்ணுமே பண்ண முடியாது. So Myanmar's civil warல யாரெல்லாம்னா the stakeholders, the people who are fighting are, one is military, okay, and the other is the அதாவது எந்த கவர்மெண்ட் எந்த எலெக்டட் ரெப்ரசன்டேட்டிவ்ஸ் வந்து இவங்க ஓவர்த்ரோ பண்ணாங்களோ அவங்க. அண்ட் தேர் ஆர் மெனி எத்னிக் குரூப்ஸ் இன் மயன்மார். இப்போ நார்த் ஈஸ்ட்ல எப்படி நிறைய எத்னிக் குரூப்ஸ் இருக்கிறாங்களோ, லைக்வைஸ் இன் மயன்மார் ஆல்சோ தேர் ஆர் மெனி எத்னிக் குரூப்ஸ். தே ஆர் ஆல்சோ ஃபைட்டிங். Okay, so these are the three stakeholders who are involved in the civil war and who are caught in the conflict. Ethnic groups, yeah, obviously you can say armed ethnic groups. So everybody is fighting with arms only. So in the mono groups on the adsitranga. And what is the scenario now is that this military, which was actually very strong when they displaced this elected government in February 21, now they have become quite weak. So ஒரு full nation மேல அவங்களுக்கு control actually கிடையாது. They are controlling certain areas. Certain areas, you know, these ethnic groups have made triumph. In some areas, this government in exile. It is called as the National Unity Government. And the name நமக்கு தேவையில்லை, no need to remember. And it is also they have an armed group called as People's Defense Forces. அதுவும் தேவை. Because it's not anything in our country. மற்ற countryல இருக்கிற government army and the names நமக்கு தேவையில்லை. You just know who the stakeholders are. If you are asked a question in IR, maybe you can make a triangle like this and show. So between these people, the fight is happening, and military, which was actually initially very strong, they are becoming weak. So this is the scenario. And in this scenario, because of this scenario and all that, obviously in the Myanmar civil war vandale refugee crisis. In India also, earlier not India, Sri Lanka, earlier this refugee civil war was happening, and appoda namak nariya this Tamil people were coming. So now in Myanmar this civil war is happening, and once again lot of refugees were having coming in, and we have our borders like this. In Myanmar, here India is there, so lot of influx is happening. So people are not safe means obviously they'll flee to safer places, and because of that, inside Mizoram, Manipur, இங்கெல்லாம் வந்து refugees வந்து நிறைய வந்துட்டு இருக்காங்க. And between this Mizoram, Manipur and what is this Myanmar, the people who are living there, they have ethnic ties. They are all related. எப்படி இந்த ஸ்ரீலங்கன் தமிழ்ஸ்க்கும் தமிழ்நாடுக்கும் ரிலேஷன் இருக்கும், அந்த மாதிரி இந்த பீப்புளுக்கும் பர்மாக்கும் வந்து டைஸ் இருக்கு. ஆக்சுவலி when the ruler of Burma was there was one king in Burma who got defeated in the Anglo-Burmese wars. அதெல்லாம் நடக்கிறதுக்கு முன்னாடி இது எல்லாமே ஃபுல்லாவே அந்த கிங் கிட்ட இருந்துச்சு. So they were all under one rule. So one rule இருக்கும்போது அந்த டைம்ல obviously அவங்களுக்கு ties இருந்திருக்கும், local trade எல்லாமே இருந்திருக்கும். But later on, this man got defeated by British, and அப்புறம் அவங்க treaty எல்லாம் போட்டு then they made this border and all that. All that was brought about by British. So that treaty actually, it's called Treaty of Yandabu. So in history, if at all, if you want, you can use the point. So this is the scenario. If Mizoram is actually accepting the refugees, they want to protect those people, but the Manipur current government, they are against. And the policy of central government, the Delhi government, is that they do not want refugees. Obviously, it's a burden for us. Nariya refugees it's a problem. And refugees multi-ethnic groups, okay. And it's not such a burning issue. First, initially it was a burning issue. This Rakhine state, you know, right? It is in bordering India, and from here, lot of Muslim refugees were coming. So India was not allowing. There were some security concerns for us. This was either 4 வருஷம் முன்னாடி first and the conflict start ஆகும்போது. I'm not able to remember when exactly. So when they were coming, Delhi was having some issues, and there were also security threats for India, because there were some claims that some of these Muslim refugees were having links with ISIS. So on the terror group link is it's a security threat for us and all that. So India's fear is actually valid. Okay. If the conflict is prevailing, and not just this Muslim, in Nariya ethnic groups so Mizoram is actually providing shelter to them. Okay. But the policy of Delhi currently is that central government, what they're saying is that, you know, this FMR between India Myanmar border, free movement region. Okay, free movement region அப்படினா the side India இருக்கு, here Myanmar. Okay, இப்படி ரெண்டு கண்ட்ரியும் இருக்கிற இடத்துல நம்ம ஒரு 16 kilometers போலாம், அவங்க ஒரு 16 kilometers வரலாம். We can go 16 on their side, they can come 16 on our side, and this without visa. Okay, ஒரு border pass மாதிரி இருக்கும், it has 1 year validity. With that, they can cross, go, stay, come back, and all that. So this is what is free movement region, and this has been prevailing. Okay, India, Myanmar, actually they have a so 1951 la irundhe namak friendship treaty irukku, but again in to facilitate FMR and all that, some special agreements were signed in 2018. So on the agreements padiyum FMR was being implemented and all that. But September 2022 onwards, on the dates you just remember FMR. Okay, September 2022 onwards, in the FMR anganga hold la vechitaanga. And now what Delhi is thinking is they are actually reconsidering. Should we even have this அப்படின்ட்டு அவங்க யோசிக்கிறாங்க, because constant அங்க conflicts இருக்கு, civil war இருக்கு, a lot of refugees are coming and they're settling forever in India. இது போயிட்டு வரது தான் வச்சது, பட் அதை வச்சு அவங்க உள்ள இங்கே இருக்கிறாங்க. நார்த் ஈஸ்ட்ல you know, the competition for resource and jobs and everything is increasing. For a nation, we are as such so populous, நம்மளோட ஆளுங்களை பார்த்துக்கவே நமக்கு பத்தாது, and on top of it Myanmar is also coming. So இந்த மாதிரிலாம் issues இருக்கு. So now the free movement region is hence under reconsideration, and center is considering fencing the entire Myanmar border. இது இப்போ thoughtல இருக்கு, இன்னும் நடத்தல. So presently FMR is under reconsideration, and center's idea is to you know, to fence the whole border ku fence போட்டுறலாம், இனிமே அந்த மாதிரி விட வேண்டாம் அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி தான் center is saying. But the local Mizoram and all that, they are asking for, no, they're saying ethnic ties are there, people are there, you know, local trade happens, cultural exchange happens, local trade happens, cultural exchange happens, ethnic ties are there, because of which you should allow people to move அப்படின்ட்டு Mizoram and all is saying. But center's viewpoint is different. Okay. One more thing which you have to note in this regard is that India is not actually a signatory to Can I rub this? Okay, so 1951, United Nations, they brought about a convention on refugees that India has not signed. அது ஒண்ணு. Second is that 1967, நம்ம வந்து one protocol also was made to implement that convention. அதுலயும் நம்ம signatory இல்ல. We are not signatory of both. And as such, we do not have a national refugee law to facilitate the influx of refugees. நம்ம signatory இல்ல, refugee law enact பண்ணல. So இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு scenario இருக்கு. So நம்ம வந்து we are under no obligation to accept refugees. Okay, and the government, local government சொல்லுது, like how Tamil Nadu will support Sri Lankans in all cases. இந்த மாதிரி மிசோரம்ல சொல்றாங்க, but centerங்கிற policy வந்து different. Okay, so so this is something very important. Okay, so நம்ம இதுல வந்து sign பண்ணல, so நம்ம refugees accept பண்ணணும்னு நமக்கு வந்து it is no compulsion for India. And so this is the status now. And so some proposals are that instead of fencing the border, they're saying why not have systems like CIBMS, comprehensive integrated border management system. அப்படின்னா fence போட மாட்டாங்க, people can move all the time, but அங்க radars இருக்கும், sensors இருக்கும், CCTVs இருக்கும், through which it can be monitored. Okay, so from a distant location also you can monitor. So அப்படி monitor பண்ணி அதுல வந்து யார் வரா போறா அதெல்லாம் நம்ம வந்து பாத்துக்கலாம். Why fence அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி this is one solution that is being suggested. Okay, and they're also saying a border checkpost. Border huts, border hut na adu or trading point mari, market mari. Okay, so all this can be facilitated. So இந்த மாதிரிலாம் நடக்கும்போது lot of interaction will be there, security threats எல்லாம் குறைஞ்சிரும் அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி oh you want. Yes. Okay, so like this it is being proposed, instead of fencing we can go for these approaches அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்றாங்க. And one more thing, other you should know what other stakeholders are doing here. China is one key stakeholder. Okay, so whatever happens in Myanmar will affect India, it will affect China, it will affect Thailand, Bangladesh. So இவங்கெல்லாம் சுத்தி இருக்காங்க, இவங்க எல்லாரும் affect ஆவாங்க. Why we are focusing on China means China is all trying to make inroads into Asia, dominate. So ஒவ்வொருத்தர் கூடயும் வந்து அவங்க வந்து they are trying to build friendly relations so as to keep India out. So we should obviously know what China is doing. So China is actually protecting so whatever this human rights violation that Myanmar military is doing, அது வந்து China வந்து protect பண்றது, cover up பண்றது. So these kind of things they're doing. Okay, because China feels that military rule in Myanmar, can be good for them. India is pro-democracy, and the democracy இருந்தா நமக்கு better, military இருந்தா அவங்களுக்கு better, because China is also not a democratic country. So democratic country now they will government இருந்தா they will tilt more towards India, whereas military rule இருந்தா they will tilt more towards China. So China oda aim என்னன்னா military இருந்தா அவங்களுக்கு benefit, so they will actually always try to protect the military. So that is exactly what they're trying to do. And this Asian nations, okay, in the Asian summits, they are not engaging with the military. So அவங்க வந்து criticize பண்ணிட்டே தான் இருக்காங்க. Here the Thailand and all those Southeast Asian nations, they have a grouping called ASEAN. So அவங்க வந்து என்ன சொல்றாங்கன்னா இந்த மாதிரி they want a democratic regime back in Myanmar. So they are criticizing, but China is supporting. And what India is doing is they have been extending humanitarian assistance to maximum possible level. So நம்ம refugee எல்லாம் accept பண்ணி refugee status கொடுக்க மாட்டோம். But despite Delhi having concerns and apprehensions about people coming in, அதெல்லாம் தாண்டியும் வந்து மிசோரம் உள்ள விட்டுருக்காங்க and we have allowed. Okay. And we are giving financial assistance to the states. And India has always known to be, humanitarian. So அந்த மக்கள் பாவங்கிறதுக்காக we are, helping them. Okay. Because they are all innocent people. So this is the, scenario. Okay, that's something which you have to know about Myanmar. And apart from this, generally, you should know what are India's interests in Myanmar. So our interest in Myanmar, I think you'll be knowing what Kala then multimodal project which India and Myanmar are developing. Then this trilateral highway, not Bangladesh, India, Thailand, and so India, Myanmar, and other one is Thailand. India, Myanmar, and Thailand. And then we also have this, it is crucial for our Act East policy. And Myanmar is actually called as gateway to Southeast Asia. It is crucial to Act East policy. And so these are the things. Also, India has over 1,600 kilometers of land border. So land border itself is 1,600 kilometers. Along with this, we have land border over 1,600, maritime border we have in Bay of Bengal. So idella irukku. And this border being porous, what is happening is, because of the porous border, we are facing problems at home. Insurgents வந்து அங்க போய் அங்க இருந்து they will use that as a parking ground and operate against India. Okay, insurgent groups, அது ஒரு problem. Drug trafficking, not just drug trafficking of drugs, humans, arms, everything is happening. So all the trafficking problems, adella and ella issues irukku. And so in the land border valiya largely this happens. Okay, so this problem is there. Maritime border we have, that is also, so itna borders irukku India ku Myanmar kuda. So obviously we need that country to be safe. And so what India should be doing is, so we were earlier supporting the democratically elected government and all that, but அப்படியே வந்து tilt ஆயிட்டு இருந்தா வந்து now it's of no use because they are not even in power. So we should actually try to engage with all the stakeholders who are in Myanmar. We should engage with everyone, build trust with everyone, and try to sort out convey what our national interests are. That's the way forward here. Okay, so we have to engage with the military, we have to engage with the ethnic armed groups, the government in exile, that is the People's Defense Forces. So எல்லாரு கூடயும் பேசி வந்து நம்ம இன்ட்ரெஸ்ட் என்னன்னு நம்ம கன்வே பண்ணி we should try to find the solution is what is the conclusion. Fine. And about Myanmar, this you can also mention this BIMSTEC. Okay, it's a very important grouping. Myanmar and India are grouping because SAARC is not working. We are trying to rejuvenate BIMSTEC and facilitate trade and economy in South Asia region. So adukku BIMSTEC olunga irukanona Myanmar is very crucial. They will mention that also. So this is about Myanmar. Next is okay, this is a very simple editorial. Just about SDGs. So you need to have this awareness. You can use it in any paper. Ethics la varaikkum use pannalam. Enganalum use pannalam. So the author is saying that SDGs are not possible to be achieved by 2030. So actually SDGs were framed by at a UN summit. Okay. In 2015. So comprising of 17 goals. And the 17 goals, please try to learn. Okay, SDG 1 is zero hunger, zero hunger. SDG 2 is zero poverty. 3 is education. 4 is education. 4 is health. 5 is gender equality. 6 is about water and sanitation. 7 is clean energy. 8 decent work. 9 அந்த மாதிரி எல்லாம் ஓகே அவ்வளவுதான். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஜஸ்ட் ட்ரை டு லேர்ன் த கோல்ஸ். ஓகே, ஸோ இந்த கோல்ஸ் வந்து த டார்கெட் வாஸ் டு அச்சீவ் பை 2030 and it appears like it will not be achieved. அதுதான். ஓகே, ஸோ why means and these goals are actually for the they're aimed at prosperity, yes. So this is on the goals list. So அவங்க சொல்றது இதுதான். It is aimed at peace, prosperity and peace for the people and planet now and into the future அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி தான் அந்த tagline கொடுத்திருக்காங்க. It's the motive. Okay, and it is a set of you can say developmental, environmental, socio-economic and political goals. So you know what the goals are and all that. So இப்போ இந்த ஆத்தர் வந்து எந்த பேசிஸ்ல வந்து இது it will not be achieved அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. There was a report called as in 2023 it was released. It is called as UN Sustainable Development Report. Okay, UN Sustainable Development Report released in 2023. It is projecting that these goals are likely to be achieved by okay. So அவங்க என்ன சொல்லிருக்காங்கன்னா you can say in the report படி as per this report released in 2023 2030 deadline will be missed and it is most likely that goals வந்து 2050 ல தான் அச்சீவ் பண்ணப்படும் அப்படின்ட்டு வந்து இந்த ரிப்போர்ட் சொல்லுது. ஓகே, அது சொல்ற அது one thing that report has stated, and the report has also stated that what is this 1.5 degree Paris target? Temperature rise above the pre-industrial levels. அந்த டார்கெட்டும் மிஸ் ஆயிடும் அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி அந்த ரிப்போர்ட்ல இது ரெண்டுமே ஹைலைட் பண்ணிருக்காங்க. ஓகே, சஸ்டைனபிள் டெவலப்மெண்ட் ரிப்போர்ட்ல வந்து இந்த கோல்ஸும் வராது, இந்த 1.5 degree பாரிஸ் டார்கெட் ஃபார் டெம்பரேச்சர் ரைஸ் அபவ் ப்ரீ இண்டஸ்ட்ரியல் லெவல்ஸ் அந்த இதுவும் நம்ம மீட் பண்ண மாட்டோம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி the report has actually made a negative point. On that basis only this editorial is being written by the author, and so this is the finding of the report. And ஏன் அந்த ரிப்போர்ட் அப்படி சொல்லுதுன்னா, so why, what is the problem in the world which is stopping us from achieving like that the editorial explores. So what it is saying is that world is facing issues. What could be the issue, you tell me? Okay, climate change is an issue, But அவங்க அது சொல்லல. Okay, so because you're saying we can write. Because in mains anyway, they're not going to ask what this editorial states. Simply you will be saying. Okay. So climate change, pollution, and all that. Okay. So yeah, what and all you're saying is right. Everything can be written. We'll come to what that author has said. Okay, அவங்க என்ன சொல்லிருக்காங்க அந்த report basisல அப்படின்ட்டு. Actually, the report has highlighted COVID pandemic. Because of COVID pandemic, lot of setback has happened. Okay, so for example, because of COVID pandemic, developing nations, okay, mainly developing nations, they are in high debt levels. அவங்களுக்கு அந்த borrowing levels வந்து ரொம்ப ஹையா இருக்கு. 50, it is at 50-year high. Okay, debt levels are very high, and their physical burden is very, very high. High debt level இருந்தா automatically physical burden will increase. அதெல்லாம் தாண்டி வந்து இப்படி நடக்கிறது போதாதுன்ட்டு because of COVID we are also having the problem of inflation, which has created cost of living crisis. Yes, so debt levels are high, physical burden is high, inflation, cost of living crisis. Now, so enna aayiruna, because of inflation, people will be in poverty, people will be in hunger. So on the SDG 1 and 2 வந்து out. So அதை வந்து achieve பண்ண முடியாத மாதிரி ஆயிடுது. So inflation is a many countries, the developing world countries, post COVID, they are in double digit inflation. In India, we are so much better off and all that, but in many countries of the world, that's not the case. So COVID க்கு அப்புறமே அவங்க இன்னும் ப்ராப்பரா சரியே ஆகல, இன்னும் ரெக்கவரே ஆகல. So COVID வந்து ஒரு மேஜர் ப்ராப்ளம். இதனால many developing nations are facing this. Okay, and then natural. So since you said climate change, this you can also link to natural disaster. Many flood, the drought, cyclone, and all that is happening. And the cost to the world actually was $303 billion. Yes, 303 billion in 2022. 22 only, no? Yeah, so 303 billion was the cost in 2020 to the world nations. Okay, so $303 billion adla pota, where will they have the money to fight other issues? Automatically it's affected. So that is one problem. And then world nations, can we rub this? $2 trillion on so 2021 overall the world spent $2 trillion on military expenditure on the war, fighting, and all that. So again, from social sector and economy and all that, money is diverted towards a defense and other purpose. This issue is there. And other reasons, when so we were talking about why, other reason is that internal displacement, refugee crisis, conflicts within nations, civil war, conflict. Okay, there's Russia-Ukraine war, Israel-Palestine war, nariya wars irukku. Beyond that, civil wars are happening, internal displacement is happening and all that. So because of this internal displacement, refugee crisis, conflict and all that, more than 2 billion people have been affected. Yes. So that issue is there. And Sahel region in Africa, there's one region called as Sahel in Africa. So on the Sahara Desert to Kila. So there around 25 million people, they are in malnutrition. Okay, so these many issues the world is actually facing. COVID நடந்துச்சு, இந்த மாதிரி disasters இருக்கு, military expenditure is there, conflicts, war, civil war, everything is happening. So because of all this, based on all these findings, the UN Sustainable Development Report has stated that it will not be feasible to achieve the goals by 2030, but instead நம்ம வந்து late ஆகி by 2050 only we will reach அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருக்காங்க. And now it might not be relevant for you, but just be aware of it. In your prelims it may be asked. Before SDGs, there was something called as MDG, Millennium Development Goals. That was for the period spanning from 2000 to 2015. Up to 15 to 30 SDG. And that Millennium Development Goals is for developing nations. MDGs, okay, spanning from 2000 to 2015, that is for developing nations. இதே தான் SDG மாதிரி targets தான். It's about health, education, schooling, and so many things like that. But SDGs are actually more holistic. Okay, so MDGs are for the developing world, and it's for the time period from 2000 to 2015, whereas SDG is from 15 to 30. It's for the entire world, all nations. Yes, can I write? Can I change? So the author has given some areas. These are some general points. You can actually write whatever you feel like. அவர் என்ன சொல்லியிருக்கிறாருன்னா, we should work on decarbonization, sustainable food production. Okay. He has spoken about increasing secondary school enrollment, girls enrollment, and he has also spoken about what is this nature-based solution? Any problem can have a nature-based solution. Say, suppose if you're having a lot of floods in city, Chennai city la nariya flood irukuna, best way to address it is to rejuvenate the wetlands. Now this Pallikarnai marshland la irukla, adella almost we have encroached and made buildings and have diverted that wetland. Instead of the divert பண்ணாம அது wetland ஆவே இருந்தா flood day வந்து to a great extent it can be reduced. So that is one example of nature-based solution. So everywhere you can have nature-based solution. For example, if coastal erosion is happening, the coastal area la vandu Chennai, West Bengal, Kerala, all these three states. I'm not Chennai, Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, Kerala. According to Ministry of Earth Sciences data, they are the states which are witnessing top level of coastal erosion. So coastal erosion address pandradhukku best nature-based solution can be what? Mangroves. So mangrove is a nature-based solution. Coral reef restoration, that is also a nature-based solution. This we call as there's on the mangrove coral reef core name. It's called as, you can call it as bioshield. Bioshield. Yes. So all these things are there. Okay. So this is what is meant by nature-based solutions. And the author also talks about urban infra, like for example, public transport. So like these and all, the author is actually suggesting. Okay, these are the areas to work upon, he's saying. And he has also spoken about increasing investments in primary healthcare. This is our first editorial, I think, based on that. That will help in preventive healthcare. And also he has spoken about some how now by political mobilization. So it should become priority of government. So mobilization should happen in this regard. A behavioral change is needed. So behavioral change enga help pannuna. Example, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. If we cut down private vehicle use, if we use public transport, அப்புறம் electricity use குறைச்சோம் அப்படி இப்படின்னா அதெல்லாம் behavioral change level. So that will help us to achieve the SDG 13. SDG 13 is climate change, right? So in that way, behavioral change can help. You can also say societal consensus. So this you can actually link and write. And the one more you can mention is again the same thing only. You don't even have to write. That person has mentioned this. Okay, interaction. That word is interaction. So like this, the author is saying, this is the way to achieve all those things. He has concluded. Okay. So it just gives a little awareness on SDGs and what are the issues concerning. Okay, this may be, even helping you to write your essay. Just information. Okay. So can we go for next? So this last one is about Ladakh's demands. So basically, actually, this actually anyway. August 5, 2019, Article 370 was revoked. Why it was revoked means center stated that Article 370 was only temporary in nature. It was to facilitate, transition of J&K and to facilitate the full integration of J&K, Jammu and Kashmir into India. So it was, you can say, the nature was temporary and it was to facilitate transition. Okay, temporary, transitional, and the aim was actually full integration. So what is full integration means? Article 370 revoking was to facilitate full integration of Jammu and Kashmir into Indian Union. அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி இப்படிதான் center சொன்னாங்க. This you can write standard. What is the center's statement is what you have to write in your answers also. So it was given like this. And according to this August 15, Jammu and August 5, J&K Act. Okay, according to this act, this Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, the state of Jammu and Kashmir was divided and it was made into 2 union territories. Okay, so one union territory Jammu and Kashmir, innonu Ladakh. So we are just going to see what is Ladakh's thing now. Okay, about Jammu. This editorial is about Ladakh only, not J&K. So Ladakh actually became a UP. Okay. So statehood was gone. The statehood lost, it became a union territory, and center justified it in the name of national security. அப்படின்ட்டு சொல்லி center சொல்லிட்டாங்க. Because why means if you see Ladakh is over here. Here this LAC is there. LAC is India's border with China, line of actual control. In the side பார்த்தா Gilgit. Okay, Gilgit Baltistan. Okay, so இப்படி ரெண்டு இது இருக்கு. And என்ன சொல்றது? So this is POK. This region is largely POK, and that side China is there. So obviously Ladakh is in a very critical location. So national security basis la vandu center saying union territory is actually quite justified. But Ladakh, obviously every region people's desire for autonomy will be there. Okay, and for Ladakh, if you see, there are two main districts. What are they? Kargil, one more is Leh. Okay, one is Kargil, one is Leh. So here we have this Shia Muslims. Okay, Kargil la வந்து இவங்க இருக்காங்க. Leh is okay, so this is the status. And in the ரெண்டு regionsக்கும் வந்து they have their political bodies. LAD. So actually you call it as hill councils. Okay, full form வந்து ஏதோ வரும், Ladakh Autonomous Development something will come, I'll tell you at the end of the class. So two hill councils they have. It's like one representative body there. Okay, so Leh ஒன்னு இருக்கு, Kargil ஒன்னு இருக்கு. Two, just remember as hill council. And they are actually demanding for, so what are their demands now? Okay, this editorial was about their demands only. So the demand from both Kargil and Leh's hill councils are that they want the first demand is statehood. Okay, so despite national security and all that, they were at one point having statehood. They wanted back, not just Kashmir, Ladakh liyum vandu statehood kekranga. That is one. And second, they want a legislature. So statehood vandale automatically legislature vandala statehood. But on the legislature la avanga enna solranga, we want to make laws for Gilgit Baltistan also. And the POK region we will make laws. We want representatives from there. So this is their demand. Okay, so Gilgit Baltistan region ku engaloda legislature la representation venum. We will make laws for that region. அதாவது அதுவும் எங்க territory தான், like that these people are claiming. Okay, and since the revocation of Article 370 itself, one another demand has been Article 371 of the Constitution. You know that, right? And then every state, there are not every state, some states have special status. So அது வந்து எங்களுக்கும் வேணும் அப்படின்ட்டு this region is asking. And under this is what? Schedule 6. Okay, so under Schedule 6 and Article 371, these people are actually demanding special status. And Schedule 6 போடும்போது என்ன ஆகும்னா, you get something called as Autonomous District Council. So the Autonomous District Council எப்படின்னா, it will have 30 members, 26 will be elected, 4 will be nominated, and this body will have special powers in area of administration, legislation, judicial. Okay, legislation, execution and judicial. In the எல்லா இடத்துலயும் அவங்களுக்கு வந்து special powers. So அதுதான் Schedule 6. So you're not going so much into Schedule 6. And it is to do with article. In the article, it's related to, you know what? Schedule 6 is under Article 244. Okay, so autonomous district councils will be created, which will be having judicial, legislative, and executive powers. Okay, and that's under Article 244. And as of now, 4 states in India have it. Schedule 6. Yarlana, Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura, and Mizoram. So these Ladakh people are also actually demanding. So அதுதான் இப்போ வந்து ஸ்டேட்டஸ். ஸோ அவங்க வந்து கில்ஜிட் பால்திஸ்தான் ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ணணும்னு சொல்றாங்க, Article 371 வேணும்னு சொல்றாங்க, Schedule 6 வேணும்னு சொல்றாங்க, ஸ்டேட்ஹுட் வேணும்னு சொல்றாங்க. So they are saying that why means they are saying Ladakh has unique culture and heritage. Okay, unique culture and heritage which needs to be protected. So on the unique culture and heritage protect பண்றதுக்கு way is to give us statehood and special status. That is one claim that they are making. That is one. And second is that they are saying local people, அவங்களுக்கு வந்து more autonomy and everything எடுக்கும்போது they know the local terrain. Okay, so no local people வந்து knowledge of local terrain and everything is there. And when they're given autonomy and everything, they can help better in logistics and military operations. That is what these local people are saying. எங்களுக்கு வந்து இன்னும் autonomy இருந்தா we can help the military better. And இந்த ஏரியால மூவ்மெண்ட் எல்லாமே எங்களால இன்னும் இம்ப்ரூவ் பண்ண முடியும் அப்படின்ட்டு these people are actually saying. They are also saying in the in 2020 there was a clash in this LAC, along LAC 2020 the COVID timeல வந்து along LAC Galwan Valley region there was a clash between the militaries of India and China. So on the money clash time lana, if we have autonomy, we can aid logistics and military operation like that. These people are actually saying. And one more thing that they're saying is that because of because of Article 370 being revoked, now the state is actually open to all, and center is actually promoting investments and all that. Okay, so because of which big corporates and all that are coming. So அவங்கெல்லாம் வரும்போது they are saying okay, because of they coming, fragile ecology of the region can be affected, they're saying. Okay, so it is very obvious that the region has fragile ecology. Environmental and ecosystem protection there is very important. But நம்ம அதை open up பண்றோம், commercialize பண்றோம் in the name of tourism and everything. If everything is opened up, it will cause more harm. That is a claim that these people are making. So earlier under இதுக்கு முன்னாடி அவங்களுக்கு என்ன இருந்துச்சுன்னா Article 35A, before the revoking of Article 370, Article 35A was there. Along with Article 370, this also got nullified. So this gave them control over land, resources, jobs. So the local people had control. They had ownership over land, over resources, over jobs. Now everything has been opened up. And Ladakh is just like any other state or union territory in India. Minnadi, that was not the case. Indian laws there when the Kashmir kunda apply agar. That legislature has to sanction it, only then it will be applicable. But that's not the case now. They're saying so minnadi mari veno. So you do not allow this. This will affect the ecology of our region. And they're saying they want control over jobs also. And for that they're demanding Ladakh. What is PSC? Public Service Commission. Ladakh Public Service Commission. So they want to control recruitment to the local jobs and gazetted posts and all that. Okay, so now we want to control recruitment. Center should not do it. We want it, and for that we want Ladakh Public Service Commission. That also they are demanding. அப்புறம் ecology கேட்டு போயிடும், இதெல்லாம் தான் அவங்க சொல்றது. So that's all about this Ladakh thing. And this is their demand, and yeah, that's about it. But yeah, in the conclusion, what remark you can make is that either if at all, if it's asked as a question and all that, Supreme Court has actually upheld, right? In December, there was a judgment through which Supreme Court upheld Center's decision to revoke Article 370. The Supreme Court solitanga Center revoking Article 370 is right. It can be justified in the name of national security, national interest and all that. And the Center did it with the aim of integrating Jammu and Kashmir, with the aim of full integration of Jammu and Kashmir into India. So அவங்க பண்ணது ரைட் அப்படின்ட்டு வந்து Supreme Court வந்து ஸ்டாம்ப் பண்ணிட்டாங்க. So obviously you have to take that stand only. You should not say இந்த மாதிரி அப்படின்னு சொல்லக்கூடாது. But Supreme Court had அவங்க வந்து லடாக் பத்தி சொல்ல. Supreme Court judgment was mainly about Kashmir. They said that elections to Kashmir have to be conducted by 30th September 2024 அப்படின்னு சொல்லி அவங்க டேட் கொடுத்திருந்தாங்க. This was in the December or sometime Supreme Court gave a judgment. அவங்க என்ன டேட் சொன்னாங்கன்னா 30/9/24 குள்ள elections have to be conducted to Jammu and Kashmir legislature. About Ladakh, they didn't mention, but since it's related, I'm telling you. Okay. But Ladakh pati mention பண்ணலனாலும், since we are talking about Ladakh, அவங்க JNK க்கு சொன்னது வந்து it is obviously applicable to Ladakh also. So what center has done is right. And you can maybe justify that Ladakh வந்து in the name of national interest and national security, maybe union territory status can continue. But the அவங்க கேக்குற மாதிரி legislature, that elected legislature, that has to be facilitated. As of now, only hill councils are there, but we should conduct proper elections and have a legislature so as to meet the aspirations of local people. Like that, you have to say something and end it. Okay. And about these other demands that they have, a local dialogue has to be facilitated, and center is actually forming committees and all that, and they're working on it. As time goes, more and more news will come about it. And one more thing which you can note in this regard is NCST, National Commission for Scheduled Tribes. They also recommended Schedule 6 for Ladakh. The reason being that yes, so because 97% of the population is tribal, NCST had recommended Schedule 6. So in justifying demands for, while you're trying to justify Ladakh's demand, you can quote this. Okay, I missed this point. That's it. Okay, so that's about the editorials. Actually, we are done with this. Okay, so we'll meet next week. Fine. Bye. Bye. Bye.